Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and I want to real quickly go through using Logger Pro to do some data analysis on the rocket engine force data. So you should start with a graph that looks something like this. You can see where we waited for the launch. We have the force, which is pushing in, so it shows a negative value. There's probably a way to invert this in your settings, but I'm not real worried about it because you just look at the graph upside down. It's fine. So we have the rocket engine, the initial thrust, and then we have the burn off and then the smoke. And you can see right here, this little spike is the charge that deploys from the end. And then after that, you can see where we start removing it and that sort of thing. So the zone that we're interested in, let's highlight it and zoom in on it. So is this area right here. So I'm going to make sure I have completely covered that. And then I'm going to use the plus key, and that will zoom in on this. Okay. First thing we want to do is do an integral calculation. So what I'm going to do is highlight this zone where the engine is providing thrust. And you'll have to just kind of eyeball this. So it looks like the curve ends about right in there. Oh, I clicked too many times. Here we go. Trying again. Something like that. If you're off a little bit, that's fine. It will. We're looking at averages here, so if you have a little bit too far on this side or a little bit too far on that side, it's going to factor those out. Really, what you want to just see what the integral is. So, if you look at your buttons here, yours probably looks a little different. This is an updated one, but it's the one right here. This is the area under the curve or the integral. So we'll click on this. And right here, it gives us the integral, which is 4.281 Newton seconds. So you can compare this to the rocket engine data, but that's one piece of information that you need. Another thing you need to know is the maximum thrust. So we know that occurs right here. So we're going to highlight this little zone right here and the highest point. And then we're going to use the 1/2. This is the statistics button. So we're going to choose statistics, and we can see the highest force here is going to be 12.36 at 9.5 seconds. Not the min. We want the max is, oh, it would be, okay, so that's negative. That's it. So we got 12.36 newtons at 9.5 seconds. So remember, this is going upside down. So you want the furthest away from zero, which would be a minimum. Be careful to understand your data, right? Okay. So anyway, and if you want to verify that, you can see the highlighted values over here. If you scroll down through this, you're looking for the one that is the highest Newton force right there. And you can see it goes from -7, -8, -11, -12.36, and then it starts declining. So this is the one we're interested in right here. Okay. The other thing we need to know is the delay time. And this barely shows up where the little charge deploys, but it's the only one that makes sense. So right here, it's got the little smoke trailing out. So we're going to use our selection tool, and we're going to go from when the rocket engine stops providing thrust until it deploys that charge. And we could do some statistics here. I don't think it gives us what we want because it's going to be focused on the forces, and I want to know about the time, but you can go ahead and do that if you want. So let's see what that looks like. So it throws something out there for us. So here's the statistics for that range. But really what we're interested in is our zone starts at 10.26 seconds, and we scroll down until we see the end of that. And there it is at 13.84 seconds. So the difference between those two will tell you something about the performance of this rocket engine. So you may record that as well. So that's basically looking at the content you need to collect from the engine data using Logger Pro.